welcome to another episode of Tete-a-tete, Tete-a-tete by My Cinema Hall. Tete-a-tete, it's a platform to speak with the filmmakers, to speak with the filmmakers all around the world about their films, about their perception about cinema, and many more. And My Cinema Hall is a bridge between the independent filmmakers and the audience all around the globe. Today, I have a set of very talented directors who will be my guest. I have David Del Rio from all the way from Spain.
Hi, hello.
Hello. Let me welcome Tongshu Karmukar. Very nice chit chat, a tete a tete with both David and Tongshu. First, I'll come to David. David, we have received a couple of movies from your end. So,
Mhm.
can you please brief me about the projects? Because I was going through with the synopsis, I find both the topics are very interesting.
Yes, first I have to say that these projects are made by our producer, who's called Gente Mala Films. I, along with Miguel Varela, produced both of them, and he's the director and script writer of the first one of them, who's called The Cell, who tries to portray Alzheimer, sorry, Alzheimer's disease from the perspective of ill person. So well, maybe later we'll profound more on the topic, but we try to show not only um, this perspective from for the of the ill person, but also to take a look of how the people who surround him also suffers the disease. And the other project is The Lake of Bitter Waters, which was directed by Aida Olguera. And it's more an universal love story, which I think most people can identify with it, because it's a failed story of two young people who met first in their very young age, and then the relationship broke up, and then they found each other again, and you feel this awkward coldness when you are familiar with a person, but then you are um, tear apart. And but also with in this project we um, combine real life action with animated sequences, which lead the story to darker final revelation. And I think that's a great surprise for viewers of the project. For the moment, that's it.
I find Oh, so I
Mhm.
find very surprising. So you're talking that this is the second one, the second project of yours. It's a love story.
Mhm.
So why you have named it the Lake of Bitter Waters? Why it is bitter? Love story must be
Yes,
sweetened.
yes, but
Where the bitterness lies.
those two persons, the main characters in the story, they had a hobby when they were a couple. They love to tell stories and to record them in like nowadays podcasts, no, but they in the radio. And they used to love horror stories or fantastic stories. So throughout this story that the leading actress is telling along the short, is how they explain the relationship they've had and how they approach to this final point where they are. So it's
Okay, so it is some different. You're talking about the different shades of human aspect, like betray is there, love is there. Of course, it must be very interesting. And we got the few video clips from both of your projects. So can we have the glimpse, please? Can we have the video clip?
Te lo dije. No me fío de ellos, Elena.
En noches como esta, cuando el fantasmal silencio reina, todavía hay quien jura sentir un escalofrío cuando escucha el canto que la dama blanca emite desde su hogar.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'll come to you. I'll come back to you, David. But prior to that, I have another guest, Tongshu. Tongshu, your project name is Afterbath. So, why you have named the project as Afterbath, and what are the reason behind choosing such a topic? Because I also find your project very interesting. And again, to my Indian filmmakers, if you feel free, like providing your answer in English, no problem. But if you want to go for any kind of vernacular language you're comfortable with, you can go for it. No problem.
No, there isn't any problem for me speaking in English, and I'll sort of like to give my answer in both my vernacular language and in English because both are kind
Wonderful,
of
wonderful.
very close to us. No, the name Afterbirth actually came from the film, from a film dialogue actually. A film by Paul Thomas Anderson is the name of the film is There Will Be Blood. So there's a dialogue, and at the climax of the film, Daniel Day Lewis plays the character of Daniel Plainview, and he says the character Eli that you are the afterbirth of your parents. So that word itself kind of intrigued me at the very first place, and I started searching for the meaning. And you get both way meaning for the word because afterbirth means after the birth. What happens after you get out of the womb of your mother? And afterbirth also means it's the dead fetus. So all these things kind of was playing in my mind, and I conceived the script during the lockdown, during the first lockdown in 2020. Though I actually started writing the germination of the story, the turmoil of the story, the political turmoil that gets reflected in the film, all started during 2019, and my country was going through a lot of turmoil. We were seeing a lot of protest happening on the streets of our cities. In Kolkata itself, we were seeing lots of protest happening for CA, NRC, who will stay, who will leave, and all sort of things were playing in my mind back then. And then the lockdown happened. Then the pandemic happened. Then we were getting lots of news of people just dying out of like without even getting a prior notice that they will be dead. So all these things kind of was playing in my mind, and was I took the refuge of film to kind of get all these emotions out of me. That's how the film happened, and that's how the name also came because it got me into an introspection of my country people. And normally get we are actually into the binary of this male and female binary. And what I tried to actually portray here is that if you even in the trailer of the film, if you watch it closely, though all the things are not clear in the trailer itself, things will be clear much more when our audience watch the film. But my main intention was to bring out the political turmoil that we face through a simple story of a couple. That was my kind of expression for it. And since it was an independent project and it has been done in a very stringent budget, that's why I came up with the idea of turning it into a single room drama, which normally we don't get to see
Which
these days.
reduces the cost.
No, obviously it reduces the cost, and also it obvious. But what I feel is only reduction of the cost cannot be my answer to my audience. That why have I done it? So
Okay.
my intention was to get them more into the story, more into the skin of the story, and I মানে এটা তো খুবই স্বাভাবিক যে আমার অডিয়েন্স যে সে তো শুধুমাত্র পুরুষ আর শুধুমাত্র নারীরা দেখবেন না, এখানে বোথ দ্য মেল অ্যান্ড দ্য ফিমেল উইল ওয়াচ ইট. And to connect them, I thought of making two of my characters a male and a female, so that ওই দুটো পার্সপেক্টিভও আমি গল্পের মধ্যে রাখতে পারি. কারণ লকডাউনের সময় যেটা আমাকে নাড়া দিয়েছিল, যে আমি দেখছিলাম যে সুইসাইড, দুটো জিনিস খুব বেড়ে গেছিল. একটা হচ্ছে সুইসাইড, আরেকটা পাশাপাশি হচ্ছে প্রচুর ডোমেস্টিক ভায়োলেন্সের আমরা ঘটনা দেখতে পাচ্ছিলাম, মানে এবং ডোমেস্টিক ভায়োলেন্স কিসের ইঙ্গিত দেয়, যে কোথাও গিয়ে বাড়ির ভেতরে বনিবনাটা হচ্ছে না, মানুষ মানুষকে বুঝতে চাইছেন, যেখানে কিনা হয়তো সেই কানেকশনটা আর একটু বাড়তে পারত। সেই সব জিনিসগুলো আমি অ্যাকচুয়ালি কেটার করতে চেয়েছি। মোস্টলি আই ওয়াজ গেটিং নিউজ অফ পিপল committing suicide, or they are kind of fighting among themselves. And at the same time, what I could see in my country, me as a countryman of my country, we are actually fighting for to get our words through the table with our governance. So all these things actually got me to put the thing into the binary of man and woman, and then tried to cook the story in a way, in a sort of a way. And in this case, actually, I should say that I was greatly influenced by the plays by Anton Chekhov, uh,
Okay.
especially মানে মানে সোভিয়েত রাশিয়ার সেই সময়কার যে নাটকগুলো ছিল অ্যান্টন চেকভের, ওয়ান রুম ড্রামাতে কিভাবে তিনি ক্যারেক্টার বিল্ট আপ করতেন, how the characters were built up in those stories, in those plays, those things, those and I found them to be very kind of poignant and visceral, and at the same time they were very human. So that was kind of a quest for me to bring out a story, to bring up a story which is very poignant and kind of touches my audience in a sort of a way, so that they can introspect what they are doing.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Before I go for the next question, can we have the clippings, please?
কি ব্যাপার, তুমি এখানে?
ঢুকতে দেবে না? এসকেপিস্ট। বসে থাকবে না ঢালবে?
And you kill people out of your concern.
I do have serious concerns for you.
তোমার হাজবেন্ড কোথায়?
অনিমেষ, জিউরিকে।
কি চায় অনিমেষ?
একটা সুস্থ স্বাভাবিক জীবন, আনলাইক ইউ। তুমি বিশ্বাস করো না
কিসে?
that he will also rise again?
আমি বাড়তি। নো থ্যাঙ্কস।
Oh, wonderful. Even I
Thank
find
you.
the trailer quite interesting. I think my next question is to David. David, you said that you are completely you have involved with the cinematography of both the projects. Okay. So in terms of cinematography, you have to deal with lots of technical obstacles. Can you brief me something about that? What are the plus point of shooting these two projects, and what are the obstacles? And have you faced any kind of obstacles which you have overcome while shooting the entire thing?
Okay. So, well, the main obstacles were in both cases similar. On one side, and few resources. We didn't count with a huge budget, and in both cases also we shoot in small locations, so we didn't have too much space to play with all kind of, in this case, the lights, but with the rest of technical departments. In the cell, we wanted to do through the light also, and try to explain how the point of view of the main character is changing through the story. Because at the beginning, we play with these thriller codes. He thinks to be locked up in a room, and we want to put the audience in his place. But when the story is developing, we turn out that what it seemed to be, it's not what's happening. So we wanted to play with the light in a way that we can also show this inner feeling the character, even when the light is playing this thriller mode, if I can say. It has different small changes in color and also in light. This is not only a thing that I decided during the filming, but it will also confirm during the post production of the image, and I think that that we really achieved what we were thinking to do in this way, and people can identify how the main character is evolving his perception of what is happening around him. And well, in the lake, we wanted to create an intimate ambience in this attic where it takes place, as you've seen in the trailer. And well, the idea here was to have little light, this contrast between blues and oranges that you've seen of the night in this warm attic, and to create this intimacy between the characters that then it's broke with the animated scenes, so it has this dynamic change, while at the same time we're in the same location with the same lights. So this was more or less what we intended to do.
Excellent, excellent. Very well said. I'll come to Tongshu again. Tongshu, tell me that what are the pre-production, post-production things you have taken, and also about the cast and crew. Is there any workshop or not? How you have prepared the entire thing? How was the preparation? We want to know the background story.
Yeah, for me, pre-production for an independent project is almost like it's like setting up your whole chessboard before you start playing, right? Because what I feel is, in case of bigger production, still as a maker, I am saying, you still have the liberty to think only about your creative space. But while you are working as an independent filmmaker, I think you have to double up as a script writer, as a storyboard artist, as a production designer also, because it's kind of personal choice also of mine, to kind of sketch out all those things that I have in my mind prior to my shoot, and to have those on board so that I can discuss it with my cinematographer, with my production designer, so that everybody is in the same page and can visualize what I am envisioning for my story. So obviously, it was a very lengthy. I always believe in a very lengthy pre-production, because if the pre-production is lengthy, then I know I am very sure of what is going to happen while the production is happening. Because I always remain very scared during the production time. I always think that something uh, will go wrong and the shoot will go haywire. This is a kind of a space in which I thrive, and that's why I always believe in doing a very minute pre-production. And during that time, my cinematographer Harsh Doshi, he was a real treat. We had real long discussions, overnight discussions regarding the script, regarding how what shall be the look and feel of the whole story.
Let me come to David once again. David, can you brief me something about your cast and crew? That how you have prepared them, how long it took to shoot the entire movie.
Well, I want to start here with the Lake project, which was it was shot really quickly because we wanted to premiere it at a local festival, and we have just a few weeks to put up the deadline, and we prepared the pre-production during, I think, more or less 6 weeks, not more. But we have fortunately, we already have a bunch of people who always comes to the calling when we have a project to shoot. and really fast we could join this team, and we filmed during 2 days. And then the hardest thing of all, it was the post-production process, because we had to not only editing and coloring the film, but also conforming these animated sequences, which began this work. There were two people in front of this work of the animation, and they began previous to the shooting, but it also needs much dedication and time in the last 2 weeks, because from the shooting to that deadline that I've set, we had like 15 days, 20 days, and we made a huge effort to finish the work, and it was great. It was kind of stressing weeks for all the team, but finally we came with the final result. In the case of the cell, it was much relaxed in the terms of times, because we didn't have this pressure of a deadline, so we can prepare a bit longer, and also a bit profound how to approach the project and how to finish it. I remember we do several cuts in the editing, and we kind of work more along the with the material after before we gave the final version. So, well, it was two ways of working. If you ask me which I prefer to have time and not these stress days, but there's always stress and there's always a deadline, and you have to do it. So, well, it was also a learning to work this way.
Oh, how interesting. Very well said. Very well said. Come to Tongshu once again. Tongshu, let me change. Let me talk about, regarding a very different issue. Nowadays, we see that we are completely dependent. We are not completely, we are majorly dependent upon the OTT platforms. Because during pandemic, the cinema halls, like whether it's multiplex or standalones, it was closed for quite a long period of time. And due to COVID, people are not really going to the theaters. And most of the projects, they're getting released in different OTT platforms. So do you think that OTT platforms or the online platforms are the future for Indian cinema or for independent filmmakers? Or again, you will prefer to release your projects in big screen?
No, it's a tough choice. It's a very tough choice, I should say, for filmmakers, because in whichever format you make your film, to watch your film on a big screen, it gives you a perspective. It gives you sort of a larger than life feeling, you see, and it is kind of a very what should I say? It's the primitive form of watching film or seeing film. In a dark theater, you have a big screen and you watch a film. But at the same time, it's very much liberating for independent filmmakers like us to have platforms like OTTs where we can share our works, where we can put up our works. Because I know, because why will any distributor share a short film on a big screen? Because it sort of breaks the business model. But if we have OTT platforms, and if they sort of, because what I feel really মানে এখানে একটু আমি বাংলাতেই বলছি, স্বাচ্ছন্দ্য বোধ করবো, সেটা হচ্ছে যে ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্টলি কাজ করার তো একটা মজা আছে। কারণ আমি যেই একজন বড় প্রডিউসারের সঙ্গে, প্রযোজকের সঙ্গে কাজ করব, তখন যেটা হবে যে সে কিন্তু চাইবে, মানে এটা আমরা তো ইতিহাস জানি যে হলিউড এই প্র্যাকটিসটা শুরু করেছিল স্টুডিও প্রজেক্ট, যেখানে যে স্টুডিও মানে প্রডিউসারই বলছে আমার কাছে একটি গল্প আছে, এবং সে ডিরেক্টর, সিনেমাটোগ্রাফার, প্রোডাকশন ডিজাইনার সবাইকে আনছে, একত্রিত করছে, করে একটা সিনেমা তৈরি হচ্ছে। তো সেখানে কিন্তু মেকারের খুব একটা লিবার্টি থাকছে না। And to me, independent filmmaking, the word itself is quite a big thing for me. It's not small, because being an independent filmmaker, I wish to practice my independence even in choosing the subject, not about the production only. Because independently আমি অনেক রকমের বিষয় নিয়ে কাজ করতে পারি, এবং ওটিটি হওয়ার দরুন এই যে বিভিন্ন বিষয়, বিকজ ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট ফিল্ম মেকিং ইজ সর্ট অফ আ রেভলিউশন ইন ইন্ডিয়া, might be a revolution all over the world also. Hence, OTT, if there wasn't any OTT, then I don't think independent filmmaking, মানে ফর এক্সাম্পল আমাদের আশেপাশে যে ওটিটিস গুলো রয়েছে, সেখানে তো আমরা খুব এখন আবার যে খুব বেশি আমরা ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট সিনেমা দেখতে পাচ্ছি তা তো নয়। কিন্তু আমি মানে খুব চাইবো আগামী দিনে এরকম আরো বেশি প্ল্যাটফর্মস হোক, যেখানে এই যে ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট ফিল্ম মেকিংটা হচ্ছে, যেমন শর্ট ফিল্মও তো মানে ইতিহাস যদি দেখি, ইফ উই লুক এট হিস্ট্রি, দেন হাউ উই গট নভেলস first. Prior to that, we got poems and poetry, then we got novels, then we got stories and short stories, and that's how we have the format of feature, and we have the format of short films. And I think good films are happening in that independent short film zone. But if we don't have platforms, I know people will say that we have got YouTube, one can make a short film and upload them on YouTube, surely. But there comes the question of the survival of the maker or the makers. Hence, I think OTT plays a very poignant role in this whole chain of independent filmmaking. Hence, I think it is actually very important to have good OTTs, which kind of showcases good short films, good features, and most importantly, independent ones. Because মানে প্রোডাকশন যেই বড় প্রোডাকশন হাউস গুলো আছে, তাদের কাজ তো আমরা জানি এমনি সেগুলোকে দেখানো হবে, কিন্তু ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্টলি, যেমন ফর এক্সাম্পল আমি কিছু এই এই বছরে কিছু কিছু ভালো ভালো যে ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট ফিচার গুলোর আমি উল্লেখ একটু আমি করবো। অ্যাডিও গোডার বলে একটা খুব ভালো ফিচার এসছে, অমর্ত্য ভট্টাচার্য বলে একজন পরিচালনা করেছেন। তারপর ঝিল্লি বলে একটি ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট ফিল্ম এসছে, যদিও সেটার প্রযোজনা করেছেন গৌতম ঘোষ নিজে, এবং সিনেমাটি গৌতম ঘোষের পুত্রে। এই এই জাতীয় ফিল্মগুলো তো সাধারণ মানুষ দেখতে পাচ্ছে যতক্ষণ না ওটিটিতে আসছে, কারণ ধরেই নিচ্ছে যে এই জাতীয় সিনেমাগুলো বড় পর্দায় হয়তো দেখানো হবে, হয়তো বা দেখানো হলেও হয়তো সাধারণ মানুষ দেখতে যেতেন না। কিন্তু যেহেতু ওটিটিতে হয়তো বা বেরোতে পারে, এই যে একটা সুযোগ, সেটা কিন্তু মানুষকে ঠেলছে। এবং আগে তো ফিল্ম ওয়াচিংটা ওয়াজ আ ভেরি পাবলিক অ্যাক্টিভিটি। আই ওয়াজ মানে আমরা অনেকের সাথে দেখতাম, কিন্তু এখন ওটিটির দরুন the whole experience has become very personal, and hence I think the storytelling also changes. We can actually tell a very personal sort of a story to my audience, যেটা একটা মানুষ at a time একজন বসেই দেখছে। So these things are kind of interesting and very important, I think.
Okay, wonderfully said, Tongshu. And once you are very much highlighting on the independent filmmaker and in terms of providing them freedom, in terms of allowing them to showcase their project, My Cinema Hall is playing a very important role where we are encouraging the independent filmmakers to showcase their project all around the world without taking any copyright. The copyright will be entirely with the filmmaker and the crew associated with the film. We are just providing them the platform so they can explore their talent, they can explore their projects, because projects are very interesting in terms of subject, in terms of their treatment. So they can explore it, and the entire globe, the audience from entire world can see those projects. So we are playing this very important role. We are saying ourselves as a bridge. We are not a typical OTT platform which promotes the independent filmmakers. And considering our festival, the festival was going on, the filmmakers they have sent several projects. So we have decided that we have three categories, and we are going to pick up 5 best films in terms of who are going to bid the highest viewer. We are going to reward those filmmakers as a mark of appreciation. So these are
Okay.
the initiatives we have taken. Uh, Pardon?
না আমি বললাম ওকে। আর না আমি
Oh,
এখানে
oh.
একটু উল্লেখ করতে চাই, সেটা হচ্ছে মাই সিনেমা হলের ব্যাপারে আমি বিগত 2 বছর ধরে অবগত। আই কেম অ্যাক্রস দিস প্ল্যাটফর্ম due to my second film. It was a very sort of an independent venture, মানে টোটালি ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট ভেঞ্চার। মানে ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্সটা তো খুব অদ্ভুত একটা কথা ফিল্ম মেকিং এর ক্ষেত্রে, বিকজ ফিল্ম মেকিং ইজ নট visual art. Visual art is something I have a canvas, I have a brush and some colors, and I can paint it. Music, if I have a keyboard, I have my voice, I have a mic, I can record my voice or my song. But in case of filmmaking, you need to have a cameraman, you need to have actors, you need to have a production designer, lots of things you need. You cannot make a film alone. So my second film, it was named Ostrich, which also kind of was screened in the last year festival of My Cinema Hall app. আগের বছর যে ফেস্টিভ্যালটা হয়েছিল সেখানে স্ক্রিন করা হয়েছিল। তো সেখান থেকে আমি এই ইনিশিয়েটিভটা আমার খুব ইন্টারেস্টিং লেগেছিল, যে ভার্চুয়াল সিনেমা হলের কনসেপ্ট, দ্য কনসেপ্ট অফ ভার্চুয়াল সিনেমা। এবং সেটা খুবই এনকারেজিং এই কারণে, কারণ এই যে মানুষ টিকিট কেটে দেখছেন, এইটা মানুষের মধ্যে কিন্তু একটা কনসিয়াসনেস তৈরি করছে, which consciousness is not provided by YouTube as a platform.
Tongshu,
That
please don't take any brand's name, please.
ওকে, সরি। না আমি যেটা বলার চেষ্টা করছি, কনসিয়াসনেসটা হচ্ছে যে ওয়াচিং কন্টেন্ট নিডস টু মেক দ্য অডিয়েন্স পে সাম সর্ট অফ মানি, বিকজ আদারওয়াইজ আমরা তো একটা কিছু খরচা করে তৈরি করি। সেটার জন্য যদি একটা ওই কনসিয়াসনেস তৈরি হয়, তাহলে আমার মনে হয় সেটা অডিয়েন্স এবং মেকার দুজনের জন্যই খুব হেলদি একটা রিলেশনশিপ তৈরি করতে হেল্প করতে পারে। সেখান থেকে আমি বলছি।
Yes, that is our motto. That is the policy. That is the motto we believe in, and we are there for the independent individual filmmakers to promote their project. So, how is your association with My Cinema Hall? You have also briefed it so nicely, Tongshu. Thank you so
Thank
much. I wish you good luck for your upcoming projects. It is absolutely the end of the show. So I'll come to David. That how is your association with My Cinema Hall app? How you're going to rate us in a brief, in a nutshell?
Well, for us, it's the first time we came with this festival, and we found it a really great initiative. And here I want to absolutely agree with what Tongshu said before about the huge opportunity that these kind of platforms bring us to the independent filmmakers, because that's how I'm here today talking with you. If otherwise, it will be impossible, or we wouldn't have reached to this point. So I think it's a great initiative that also involves the audience, as you said, and for us, and I think that for many other filmmakers which try to give their first steps, or not only, because well, it's like short film, it's just like the academy to later do a long feature, but not only. So I think that it's a great window to these independent filmmakers that want to promote the work.
Thank you so much. It's an honor for us indeed. And that's what we want, that a cross-cultural interaction should happen. And that's all I have for you for today's episode. There will be many more episodes to come. Unfortunately, Anirban is not able to join us. He has joined for a little while, but again, due to some technical error, he needs to remove himself. So we are going to include Anirban Chakraborty in a different episode, in our next episode, maybe. And that's all for today's episodes. And be with Tete-a-tete, be with My Cinema Hall. It's just a matter of downloading the app from your devices, whether it's a mobile or tab. And who are there already in My Cinema Hall app, please be with our festival. Please be a part of it. And people who haven't opted for My Cinema Hall till date, please go for it and download that and enjoy the movies from different parts of the world. Encourage the independent filmmakers to create more contents for all of us. And that's all for today's chat. We are signing off. We will come with more episodes. Till then, bye-bye. Be good. Be with each other. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
নমস্কার।